like, since we're all here, and I would like for y'all to kind of educate us. And since we're all together and we're just in a work session, we're not adopting an ordinance or anything tonight. Tell us a little bit about that kind of business. And also especially why you think that maybe that location is good for that kind of business versus retail. Well, you are retail, but you're not. Other than a strip shopping center, like maybe it's on the other side of the street, other side of the ravine.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us a little bit about that, and then what kind of traffic that you foresee with it,
Okay.
and how much parking you're going to need or provide for something like this. All those things have a play in our streets over there.
Understand.
Especially about large vehicles and power lines.
It's all underground over there.
Yeah, putting it in there.
If a truck comes by and knocks that power line that crosses that
We're in
road,
trouble.
we're in trouble.
They went to the same place I went to one time. But anyway, if you tell us a little bit about that.
Okay. You want to tell about the actual concept of the micro? Okay. They let me do all the talking for some reason.
He likes.
So noted.
So a craft brewery or microbrewery is a lot of them are being called now. We take the old age craft of making beer that's been around for centuries, and we take that and we create different flavors, different styles. There's approximately 200 different styles of beer out there, and you can find beer in just about any place in the world. Some of the oldest beer has been found actually in the tombs in Egypt, and that was actually what they used to pay to give to the slaves that were building the pyramids, because it's another name for it is liquid bread, because of the carbohydrates and the grains that is used to make it. So in the modern age, you have a lot more flavors that you can impart in the beer. You can get them soured. If you like stuff that's real sour, you can actually make a sour by introducing the right type of bacteria into it, not a bad bacteria. You can add what's called kettle sours. You can add flavoring to it that will make it sour, and you don't have to worry about the bacteria. And then there's just the regular ales, the lagers, the pilsners, the wheat beer, porters, stouts, and then you can add all these different flavors and combinations to those type of beers. We make a chocolate coconut porter that is, it's roasted coconut with chocolate nibs, and it's as black as the foam. It's smooth, creamy taste, and a little bit of carbonation to it. That's it.
You want that?
Thanks.
There's been an explosion of interest in this type of product in recent years, and so that's the advent or the prompting of people to come up and spin their craft in making different types of beer, as Tony mentioned. And we feel that we have some significant products that we can bring to market that folks would be interested in. And we've won several awards on some of the beers that we produced, on home brewing, basically doing it at our house. And we think that we can bring, like I said, a product to market that would be of interest to the people in this, especially in this area. I mean, there's not really this type of a manufacturing facility, and that's kind of what it is. We manufacture beer anywhere between Woodstock and Blue Ridge. This is a wide open area, and it's prime for that type of facility, that type of sales. And with sales come tax revenue and employment of other individuals in order to help out with the manufacturing. I mean, it's labor intensive, it really is. But
so what's your 1-year plan and your 5-year plan? Where do you want to be for gallons of beer that you want to produce, and the amount you want to produce?
Well, the one-year plan, at the end of the year, we've had to kind of revise it based on some advice from banking individuals and from accounting individuals. We hope to go in with what is a 5-barrel system, which 5 barrels, a barrel of beer is 31 gallons, so 5 times that, and produce, what was our projected production?
Our first year's projected production was about 80 barrels.
Right,
First year.
which in craft brewery size is minute. That's almost what's considered a nano brewery because it's so small. But that gives us the ability to cater to a very localized market. We plan to distribute out to like local restaurants and to eventually to maybe storefronts, wherever. We don't control that. We sell to a distributor. Distributor decides where the beer goes. But we also would want to visit different establishments and promote our product, so that they request it from the distributor and bring it in. But that's about the size that we're looking at right off, at least for the first year. Depending on the demand and where the growth goes, we hope to be able to double that.
Yeah, it kind of follows the model that we've seen in Gate City throughout the Reformation. It was a 1-barrel system when they got started. Dry County was,
Dry County started off with a 1 barrel, and so did Barton Hickory. Those are well-established breweries in the Woodstock, Kennesaw area.
What it takes to start a fire?
So back to your location, your traffic, parking, all those things.
So location-wise, because of the requirements by the state of Georgia, we have to be in a commercial or industrial area. When we started talking about property with the developer over there, he said that the lot that we're looking at, I believe he said is C1 or C2. I'm not 100% sure what that is, but it is considered commercial
Commercial property.
Right. So because of that, that's where we kind of focused looking. And there was no real commercial property actually on 515 that fit into our price range.
Right.
So we looked kind of off a little bit, but we also looked at, okay, there's a traffic light at Walmart. There's a traffic light there at Home Depot and Buffalo Luke's. And coming from the east to the west, you've got the traffic light there at, yeah, it's on, right at Noah. And then we're looking at being on the old Philadelphia side of Jonah Drive. So we felt like with the traffic lights, that would be easier traffic flow coming into us. We're not sure how the traffic would be affected over there, because honestly, right now, there's hardly any traffic that goes through there. So, we expect some traffic flow to get a little heavier between the Walmart and our facility, but it's a very short distance. There's already that industrial park in there, so you've got the heavy trucks coming into there. But we're looking right now, we would only be bringing in like a 20-foot tractor trailer that would bring our grains in. And sometimes they'll just bring that in a box trailer or box truck.
Like once a week.
Yeah, once a week deliveries. And then once distribution starts, then the distributor comes in a box truck. And depending on what the order is for that week, it could be 100 kegs or it could be 8,000 cans.
it's a 5-year plan.
That's the 5-year plan, yes.
So you plan on doing Cannon and Bala?
We'll do Cannon, and we're looking at, and that's part of our business plan is in that 5-year plan is to go ahead and have the financing available. Maybe not by day one, but have the financing to support buying a 35 can an hour or a minute canning system that would be permanently put on site.
Most breweries have migrated away from bottles for the most part because cans are much lighter, they're easier to handle, they're recyclable, much easier to recycle than glass anymore for some reason. But it's just a more environmentally friendly, cheaper way to go.
Right. They're allowed
A lot
on
of
boats.
places won't let us take glass.
Exactly.
What's just your projected square footage on your building?
The day one building will be 3,600 square feet, 1,800 square feet will be for the tasting room, and 1,800 square feet for production. And the production room will be 2 10-by-10 walk-in coolers that will share storage. Both will be shared storage, and then one of them will actually be connected to the tap handles in the tasting room. And day one, we're planning on 6 beers with potential for up to 10 within the first year. And then based on what we're working on and how the different flavors that we want to do, then that could grow up to 20, 25. We start doing special runs, smaller, like with the 1-barrel system, we can make 4 7.5-gallon kegs. That, if it's a new run that we've never tried, it would be only in the brewery, so we would make smaller batches of that and see how it goes.
You asked about parking on a weekly basis. I think if we had 5 to 10 on a daily basis, that we'd be pretty happy with that. At phase 1, on weekends, probably 25 to 30.
Right. And that would be in the first year's growth.
How many employees?
6.
I mean,
The 5 of us plus the bookkeeper, one that's going to make sure that all the state and federal and local taxes are paid. Because there is a lot of paperwork that goes along with the brewery because of the federal government and state government as well. But I mean, every ounce has to be accounted for that's manufactured in that facility. Even what goes in the drain.
Yeah, even what's thrown away, you have to account for.
Not necessarily, because we're gonna be drafting and approving, hopefully, an ordinance that will cover not just whatever y'all intend to do, but whatever
Understand.
somebody else may intend to do so
Sure.
also. And, out of that, you said you're gonna have a 3,600 square foot building,
Yes, sir.
somewhere in that range.
Yes, sir.
What about, I mean, those lots over there, I'm familiar with some of them. But let's talk about one that y'all particularly are looking at, and I don't even know what it is, or where it is, or I know where it is. How many square, or how big is it?
It is 2.21 acres.
So it's about 80,000 square feet, a little over 80,000 square feet.
Closer to about 92,000.
43,600 and something per acre, so. Is all of that piece buildable, or some of it?
That is
can't build on?
that's part of our due diligence with the landowner, is to find out exactly what the surface, the grading would be needed there. But,
Is there a stream or something behind that?
no, so there's a big tall bank there
Okay.
behind it.
Okay.
There's coming down to Old Philadelphia side, there's just a drainage ditch, and then where rainwater runs off to.
Yeah, that's what, those things kind of give us fits sometimes.
I understand. It is a level lot, so there won't be a lot of dirt movement that would have to be done.
But it's about 2.5 acres, you
Yes,
said.
about just over,
Before you
almost,
start moving anything.
yeah, almost 2.25 acres.
And how much does, if you happen to know, and you probably don't, but when you bring in one of those big tractor trucks, how many pounds does it weigh?
The one that we saw today came in probably with about, I'm guessing that they had probably 8,000 pounds of product in the back, plus the weight of the tractor and the trailer. It was a 20-foot trailer. We want to be bringing in like a 40-foot or 53-foot trailer that would be offloading the entire load, which would be 80,000 pounds. We're talking in the probably anywhere from the 5 to 12,000 pound range on a weekly basis.
You make beer out of corn?
Yes, sir. Budweiser does it all day long.
That meat?
Corn and rice.
No, honey is used to make meat.
Okay. Gotta learn. Bud Light, man.
We gotta teach you better.
You didn't drink it, yeah, I do too, but I don't know what's in it.
A blonde ale, and I think you probably.
That's what he was telling me about.
I've already hit him up on that one.
And I think I already know the answer to this, but let me go ahead and throw this out there. We're not talking about, and y'all are not interested in And anything called a brew pub?
No, sir. The only interest we have in food, this facility, will be making an area that a food truck that we would bring in, it would not just be somebody that shows up. We would be the ones that would invite them there, and we would set up a facility, an area on the property that they would be able to set up and sell their food. All the licensing and everything would be on them.
Okay, so they'd have to come to us to get a permit to do that?
Yes, sir.
All right, and one other thing, let's see, we got a list here. What would you say that y'all done more investigation because you got money going in? What is the average that you have found, if there is an average, as to what the license usually costs somebody in these other places?
From a city standpoint, or county standpoint, or federal standpoint?
No, let's don't get in state and federal, because they got their own ball of wax.
Yeah.
I know that like LJ's $1,000 to get a permit.
Right.
Blue Ridge is $2,000
For $2,000 for what?
for a brewery permit.
Brewery, okay.
I don't know, don't remember whether or not this Sandy Springs thing had anything in it, or the.
It didn't have numbers in it, and honestly, I did not call them or even go on the website to look.
Well, I
to see how much.
did,
Okay.
I did, and I couldn't get an answer.
Okay.
I was talking to, must have been talking to the court system or something. And then I found one, which was, I can't even remember which one it was, now it seems like it was Woodstock, that discharged the price of whatever the going rate was for the sale for consumption on premises. Which is about in the ballpark of all the others.
Okay.
So anyway, okay, so you say you're gonna bring in a truck. This kind of facility would have some trucking. And have y'all investigated to make sure you know what kind of sewer and all you're gonna need? And
That's part of our due diligence.
Oh.
I've already had the water
so isn't
tested.
the sewer out there in the middle of the streets? Yes, that's all.
Now, as far as bringing the sewer to the building, the person that we hired to build the building we'll work with the city at that point to get tied in.
The reason why I keep on asking about this pounds on the truck and all that kind of stuff, we've got our utilities over there,
Right.
or at least our sewer. Surely the water is, but I know the sewer is right out in the middle of the road because those sewer pipes, the covers are out there in the middle of the road. And that kind of, if we're gonna have a whole bunch of traffic that's gonna be heavy, that's gonna create a lot of stress. And I
The
don't-
restaurants need a grease pit, and I'm assuming that breweries need something.
We don't require a grease pit because there's
Yeah, I
no
wouldn't
oil
think a
there.
grease pit.
Typical brewery will dump their wastewater into the sewer system if they're in a facility, in a location that has a sewer system. If not, then they have to build a retention tank that they would pump that into, and then they'd have to hire somebody to come in and pump that out, take it away.
In your investigation, have you found where they have to go and hire somebody to pump it out? Where do they take it?
They take it to a wastewater treatment plant.
At the size of our facility, though, our output's very minimal, comparatively speaking.
You can roughly figure 8 gallons of water for every gallon of beer made.
Well, I'm thinking that y'all build one and then 8 other people build one.
That's-
Thinking into the future.
That's
not-
true, I understand.
Not into what the now and never is.
Right, you can take, this is kind of an extreme, but you take the city of Asheville, North Carolina. Currently, right now, they have over 40 breweries within the city limit, the downtown
Right.
area, not counting the 2 huge breweries that are outside the city. but you've got 40 within walking distance within that city limit or that downtown area.
Okay.
And I don't foresee that big of an, like I said, that's an extreme. I don't see that happening here. I mean, you can tell what we've seen in the last 4 to 5 years. You've got Reformation in Woodstock. There's nothing else until you get to Blue Ridge, and there's 3. And there's only one up there that does major volume of beer.
Well, I visited one in Blue Ridge, I think I told you.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Gonna be old man,
Yeah,
gonna fit in there, no way.
absolutely.
When we go.
Well, when my daughter let us sleep, they'd want to take a picture and put us on the can.
Actually, I wish I had a picture of one of those cans.
Well,
Looks like Joe
I
Rupert.
almost bought one, just so I'd have it for this meeting. But,
The aesthetics of your building, and again, that's not necessarily a requirement, I'm just interested. Is it just it's gonna be a metal building, or is it gonna be an attractive building, or is it gonna have an attractive face, or?
Right, so the plan for the building, again, is 3,600 square feet. The walls are gonna be 20 feet, because as we grow, the vessels get taller and bigger around, so we want the ceiling height. The exterior of the building will just be a metal building with a 4-foot rock wall around the 3 sides facing, that would be visible from Old Philadelphia and Jonah Lane.
Right.
And then we're gonna have, on 2 of the sides that face those, we're gonna orient the building where we can capture the sunsets because of where it's located. We'll have a 12-foot covered patio that will have ceiling fans and seating out there, plus we'll have an area out for cornhole, other games. It's going to be a family friendly and I will say pet friendly, but you're not going to see a lot of people bringing their cats to a brewery. You'll see more people bringing dogs. So we are going to be pet friendly though. We'll have water stations for the the dogs to be able to get water out of, and I'm sure we all own pets, so I'm sure we'll have treats around there.
And this is all your model based on other people that are doing it?
Yes, going around there's very exhaustive research going and looking at breweries and making sure that you can make a better product. You're always taste testing.
Gotcha.
so if, and, I make it on these, okay? I walk in and I decide that out of one of your, well, they had 16 kegs up there on the wall at that other place. And I want to try one of them.
Okay.
If I ask to try one of them, what's going to be, what's your response to that?
Well, first I'm going to ask for your ID.
Right.
And the second thing, I want to ask what do you like? What kind of beer what flavors do you like?
Okay, let's just say I want to try anything.
Okay, then I'd start you out with like our blonde. That's a
And
lower.
how much of a cup or whatever?
It's a 2 to 3 ounce pour.
Okay. All right. And then I try another one,
Okay.
and another one.
I'm not going to let you sit there and try every single one of them if that's where you're going.
I am.
Okay, no. After about the 3rd one, you're going to have to buy.
You're gonna have to buy.
You're talking about our money.
Yeah.
Well, I
We
understand.
can't make money.
See, I understand that, but I'm going there with that.
No,
And
we're,
let me tell you what, if you came the day before and the day before, you probably aren't gonna get in.
So, all right, and, so I try 3, like one of them. So I order the largest container whatever you sell. What is that?
that depends. Are you going to take it away with you or you're going to drink it on site? If you're going to drink it on site, it's up to a 16-ounce pint. If you're going to take it home with you, which cannot be opened on the property, we will fill the bottle, which is a growler, it's 64 ounces, and we will seal that. Because if you leave there and you open that bottle, and you get pulled over, you have an open container. So now you're subject to.
You're answering some of the questions I'm getting to.
Okay. So that's the largest container we can provide.
Because growler don't mean anything to me, so
That's 64-ounce bottle, half gallon.
and it's, you seal it.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay.
We fill and seal it.
You can do the recyclable ones?
Yes, if you already own one, bring it in. We'll be happy to fill it. It just won't cost you as much if you were to buy a bottle.
All right, and how many times a day can I fill it?
One time. And then we can sell you up to 288 ounces in cans,
All right,
which is a case of beer, 48
all right,
48 12-ounce cans. Or we can sell you one 32-ounce, what's called a crowler, which is,
It's a filled can.
yeah, it's a filled can. It's a 32-ounce can. It's huge, almost like the old Foster's old cans, but a little bit taller.
Comes in a brown bag, right?
No,
No, it does not.
no.
sorry. And if,
That's around the back, so.
I know all these, some of these questions don't really apply to y'all, but I've got a whole bunch, I've found a whole bunch of things that we really need to do to our ordinance. So if I show up on property and I'm coming in to get my whatever filled, and I happen to have a brown bag with me,
We'll ask you to go put it back in your car.
regardless of what's in it.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
And we have already discussed this on weekends. We plan on either working with the city or the county sheriff's department to bring in an off-duty officer to work security in the parking lot. A lot of the breweries that we go to have that same thing because of traffic flow. We're gonna do the same thing.
Okay.
And there is zero tolerance where we're concerned when it comes to abuse of the facilities. If there's a fight started, you are never welcome back there again. I don't care who you are.
Well, some of the council members sitting here, they're new, but they're not new because they've lived here a while. But we don't want a bar.
No, sir,
We
we
done
don't.
been down that road one time before. And, that's not what. the city
That is
of
not what
Jasper
we're
is
trying to
made
do.
for.
We're a manufacturing facility.
Now, there will probably be one or two TVs in the place. A lot of times, just one, okay. It's not gonna be a big, huge screen, I can tell you that. We're not having football parties, no pinballs, no arcade games, no pool
Place to come and
tables.
sit with your friends.
What about buying
fellowship.
excuse me, go ahead.
Excuse me?
I'm just asking, I've always got all these things running through my mind. So can, Doc and I sit down and order a pitcher of beer?
No, sir.
Okay.
You can only order, and depending on what the beer is, you can you can only order in a pint, which is 16 ounces, 12-ounce glass, or some of the higher ABV beers, we would only sell in an 8-ounce glass, simply because they're 10 to 14%.
Is there a limit on how many of those you can have?
No, there's not. Under the state law, there's no limit to how many that you can buy on site. Again, that kind of falls back to what we would see is the same kind of rule that you would see in a restaurant or bar. If somebody looks like they've had too much, we have the right to cut them off. As far as selling stuff that goes out the door, there's a limit by the state that is set, that we cannot sell beyond that amount per person per
I thought
day.
that was 288 ounces.
No,
No,
no, the 288 ounces just equals out to a case. I mean, I can't sell you enough growlers to make the 288 ounces.
okay.
And the state law is
Well, what is a growler again?
it's a 64-ounce, half-gallon brown jug.
I'll have to get you out.
Oh, well, I don't go down no more.
Now, the state law is a little gray on the 288 ounces, and it only says cans. So,
I got it right here.
okay, so it's a little gray on the growlers and the crowlers, so we're saying that we will only sell you one case, one growler, or one crowler.
Out
per
the
person.
door.
Out the door. And you can't buy a crowler and sit there and drink it on site. You have to take it off premises.
Okay, so let me make sure I've got it right, because you've already said it 2 or 3 times. But so I can come in and buy what I'm gonna call a case
Yes, sir.
Yes.
of the cans,
Yes, sir.
and walk out.
Yes, sir.
And can I come back 15 minutes later and buy
No.
the same thing? That's the way today?
Yes, sir.
24 hours.
Okay, all right, and the container you call something else that you put it in and seal it,
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
you only can buy, and I order 3 of them to go.
Based on how I read the state law, I'm only gonna sell you one of those, and I cannot sell you another one until 24 hours later.
Right.
Now, we are working with the Georgia's Craft Brewer Association. They have a paid, I forgot, advocate that comes down and works with the state government.
They
And
have
we are,
lobbyists.
thank you, lobbyists, local lobbyists, and we have asked her to, or actually they have asked her, the brewery people have asked her to try to get a better definition on what they mean with the 280 ounces versus the rest of it.
What kind of, oh, excuse me, Jim.
No,
What kind of signage are you talking about, for something like this, with somebody won't put up in their place?
At a restaurant or
No.
distribution or at our
You're
facility?
At that facility that somebody might build that you're talking about.
Okay,
And I'm not directing it just particularly to you, but anybody.
okay.
What kind of signage are they gonna wanna put up? on
Well,
their
right now, on the building
On the
itself, there's a section, the way that lot sets, there's a section of the building that faces 515, right? You can see them right there in that area where Buffalo Loops is at. And we would look at putting a sign on the building itself with the name of the brewery
Would
there.
that be the back side of the building?
Well, it would be the front side of the building because we're gonna try to face it west.
Okay. What about, on the side facing the street?
Well, that would face
What's
no
the name
other.
of the street? No,
That would face Jonah Lane, and then Old Philadelphia roadside, there probably wouldn't be a sign.
Right.
And then any other signage, we would be looking at billboards out on the highway, somewhere south of town. So north and south.
And you're not gonna be putting up on mailbox, are you?
No one planning on it.
Okay.
We'll probably do post office box, or if they still, I know some businesses in the mail, people will bring it to the door.
And this type of business would want to be able to, I guess, sell their souvenirs like I saw one up
Yes.
there in Blue Ridge?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
T-shirts, we call it swag.
Yeah.
It's T-shirts, caps, glasses, koozies for the glasses, koozies for cans.
Okay.
Are you gonna do tours?
We're not required to by the new law, but we will be doing tours because the more you educate the people about the beer and how it's processed, the more they enjoy coming back and seeing the operation again and again.
There's a lot of interest in how is a beer is produced, where does it go from the grain all the way out to the can or to the tap? And people are interested in that, so we like to show them, the facilities, the vessels that everything goes through, to explain the process, the chemical process, the physical process, But again, it depends on interest. If we get somebody in there that's interested, yes, some people just want to come in and buy their case and walk right back out again.
So are you looking at having events there?
Yes, sir.
And are the restrictions on the distribution the same for an event?
Yeah.
Even if I had let's say I wanted to rent a place for the whole time, the limitations would still be
Yes.
Per person limits, just like.
Yes. We're looking at, we're looking at doing something with, like with Humane Society, Pints for Paws there's a kind of that type of thing where we would have an event where we would raise money for Humane Society or something like that. There's another one you call it Pencils.
Pints for pencils.
Pints for Pencils, where, so much of the proceeds, right, so much of the proceeds that day or that weekend goes towards local school system. But there's a lot of things that you can do that will help generate revenue like that for special events or special causes that fit right into the type of people that visit the brewery.
Do you have a name yet?
Yes, sir. 4 a.m. Brewery.
4 a.m.?
Yes, sir.
You own that? Do you own that?
Yes, sir. I better because I got a license
He's
plate
got a
that
license
says.
tag with it.
Here, I'll show you what the logo looks like. Oh, there's the license tag. You'll see that on my Land Cruiser around town.
You're getting ahead of yourself, aren't you?
Positive thinking.
Yeah, we're hopeful.
We have a lot of plates in the air, spinning around.
Yeah.
That's the logo.
Scorpio in at 4 AM.
Have y'all happened to have read the statute that took the tours away from them? Why?
Yes, sir.
Haven't read that.
Yeah, we're very keen on making sure the state doesn't come to us and say, you can't make beer anymore. Unless they want to tell the bank that we don't have to make payments anymore.
Yeah. All right.
You figure that out, you let me know.
I will.
Do you, other than well, I'm sure you've investigated, other than what other people pay for their license fee, whatever it may be, are other cities that you found requiring any other fees?
I think it's just been the licensing fee and a pour license. And I don't know, in some places that has been kind of rolled into one license. There are a couple of places that we've noticed that have the license for the facility, and then one person has to have, that is in the business, has to have a pour license for that facility.
That's what Blue Ridge is.
Right. Delana is the same way. With Delana, you actually have to live in the county
Right.
to support it.
Yeah, I read that one too. I read about every ordinance that all these cities and counties around us have enacted. And they're, of course, not up to date, but especially with the doing away with the having to go to the school, I call it school, to tour.
Right.
Okay.
And we are limited also with the state law about selling out the door. We can only sell 3,000 barrels a year out the door. Anything above that would have to go out through distribution. And we're going to be a mix. Our plan is, in the 5-year plan, is to be a 50-50 mix, 50% sold in the tasting room and then 50% sold through distribution.
So let's just assume you had a good year and sold 3,000 barrels. Do you have any idea what tax revenue that would mean for the city?
No, sir, honestly, I don't, because we haven't actually found out what the exact tax rate is for the city, and we haven't plugged it into our spreadsheet yet.
I do know that I've done some research on how it's impacted Asheville in particular, and it's pretty impressive. At least it sounds impressive.
What usually have y'all found, or, and I'll say whatever, what do you want, I mean, but not that we'll do it, but what kind of hours of operation are you talking about?
The typical hours that we're looking at doing is Thursday and Friday. We would open approximately 4 o'clock in the afternoon and stay open till 9 o'clock at night. Based on weather, it might close early, and we'd like to be able to, some special events, be able to stay past 9 o'clock. Winter months, obviously, because you can't get outside that much, you probably will, we'd probably close a little early.
Let me answer it as a true businessman. I really don't want any limits.
True.
Well, we have limits on selling alcohol.
I understand that,
You know.
but you asked the question.
Well, I know it, I
As a
want you to
business-
understand.
Okay, so
businessman.
let's rephrase that. As a business person, we want to be able to sell alcohol when the city allows alcohol to be sold.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm just doing some wild thinking,
Yeah.
because I'm trying to put something all together for these guys, to vote on it, hopefully one of these days, real soon,
Right.
And, in my mind, as little as it is, and simple-minded as I am, I was thinking of something like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Not that you're gonna be selling anything then.
Right, exactly.
But, and you don't have to necessarily open them.
Right.
But for my purposes of drafting a general scheme,
Yeah.
1 to 10, 1 to 9, Thursday, Friday, Saturday,
And as we retire from our day jobs, we would like to expand our days of operation, not to just Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
And as business grows, and the interest grows.
What about Sundays?
We have agreed as a group not to be open on Sundays.
Yeah.
And that's out of our,
What does remember this law and this ordinance is gonna be for every brewery that wants to come here. Is that typical for breweries not to be open on Sunday?
no,
No.
no.
Okay.
Now, that was a personal choice that we've made amongst ourselves, but that is not a typical arrangement in the brewing industry.
Gotcha.
Well, I can tell you right now, our ordinance reads that the sale of alcohol begins at 12:30
On Sunday.
on Sundays
Right.
until 8. 11, I had to walk over here by myself. I was 11:30 at night
Right,
Okay.
on those days.
absolutely.
And then on Saturday, it's like everywhere, most everywhere else, you gotta close up at 11:45.
Right.
And then you can open up at, I believe, ours is 10 o'clock, isn't it? I can't remember. But it's maybe 9 o'clock. We're a little bit more progressive than the city of Atlanta was, where they're just now gonna start at 11 on their brunch hour.
I understand the state did change Sundays to 12 o'clock, and we have had a request from somebody about that already, so.
So, but
Something we're
anyway,
gonna have to
I was
address.
kind of figuring out what the industry does. And, cause I most of the ones that I have really took an interest in, left it up to sell at any time that state law allows.
Right.
So if you vary from the state law, then we would be honoring your.
You'd have to honor us.
Right. So let's
So, I mean,
compromise, whenever y'all allow us to sell alcohol, we'll be selling alcohol.
Well, that's for these guys, I'm just
Right.
gonna draw some of them,
Right.
let them pan it in, figure out what they wanna do.
I don't
about
think you
something like that.
say you would be selling.
No,
but you
it could be.
Could be.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly, it's not that
Keeps
we.
flexibility.
Doesn't necessarily that you will.
Right.
Exactly.
We have, one community here in our county, and I don't know if you know anything about what a REAP project is, Rural Economic Development Assistance Program. And, they can virtually sell anytime they want to, and they don't have to abide by anything. Just because it's a certain law that was actually introduced and passed by the legislature, so that Brashtown Valley can serve alcohol at the golf course. And then several other places, I was one, the second lawyer in Georgia to ever form one of those, and I was asked about several others. Cowboy Gardens got one now, other big places have got these different economic, they call it economic assistance programs and projects. But ours in the city limits is, even by the package, it's 12:30. You correct me if I'm wrong, Jim, 12:30.
12:30 is correct.
12:30, and you have to close up 11:30 Monday through Saturday, and Sunday, I think you have to close up at 6.
Now, is that just package stores or is that
That's just
restaurants?
package, that's
Okay.
package.
Okay.
I was thinking it was 9 on
9,
Sunday.
okay. Can't remember. We don't have that many places you can buy a drink by the consumption on the premises in anywhere here. You got a few restaurants over there, a couple, 3, isn't it? Just 3.
Broncos, 61 Lane and,
Okay.
Fast. There's only 3 we have.
And
You can-
Buffalo Lucas sells,
Well, they sell,
Draft.
they do
Yeah.
sell a draft.
Yeah.
I saw that the other day, they do sell a draft.
What about barbecue?
I think they do now.
Oh, they did that?
too.
beer and
I haven't kept up with who bought a recent license, so I don't know. Wasn't really in need.
yeah, Buffalo Lucas only does beer and wine, so it's pre-packaged or.
Yeah, bottle.
And they sell those, somebody's souvenirs of some sort.
Oh, I hadn't
A
seen.
label of some sort.
Oh, I hadn't seen that one.
I'll tell you, one of the things I've seen down at Reformation, on Thursdays, you and I have both seen it. if they don't have enough people show up, they close early.
Yeah.
I send all their employees.
Well, that's a smart thing to do as
Yeah.
business.
They're not making any revenue, so it's time to close.
That's right.
They walked up, I was like, sorry guys, but could you leave?
John appreciates you stay open so George Power can get revenue, but, yeah, I can understand.
It's just nice to have flexibility. So they're thinking, you know, if UGA's playing in Alabama at noon, somebody might want to buy a six-pack at 11 for the game. You never know.
We hope. That would be nice.
Fortunately, I wouldn't be watching those two
I mean,
play.
if these are a bunch of tech guys, I just really said something bad.
Well, just one of them,
Whoops.
1.5, I'll go that. Only Georgia and Alabama will be playing anymore.
Sporting event.
So if this, well, let's say yours stuff.
You got your 15 minutes.
In the location where you're thinking about, which is not concrete yet,
Right.
the biggest maximum size that you would ever think that you would hope for to stay at that location would be what, as far as your building is concerned?
We figure our pump out.
We figured our second phase building was going to be approximately 10,000 square feet.
So what was the other part?
The original building is 3,600,
36.
so total would be 13,000.
So it'd be under 20,000 square feet?
Yes, that's the state limit, it's 20,000.
They still meet all the setbacks according to that piece of property.
Yes.
You know, what you might want to think about more than size is quantities, because in New Belgium, or even Sweetwater, these tanks, they're now making them not so much big around, very tall.
Yeah.
So what about people with disabilities? How you plan on,
Well, the property itself will be all level, there'll be no steps in and out. So will
I'm talking
the
about doorways and restaurants?
Oh, yeah, we're
doorways and restrooms, it'll be handicapped. We have to abide by the ADA, so
ADA
everything
will be checked by the fire department here.
right.
Oh, what is the danger in brewing and fire?
Fire is
Yeah.
very limited, minimal. The biggest danger probably in brewing, other than a vessel exploding from too much pressure, which we have gauges to monitor that and alarms that would go off.
And pressure relief valves.
And pressure relief valves is the CO2. And by state and federal law, we're required to have CO2 monitors both in the tasting room and the production facility.
It has to be inspected by the state, vessels have to be inspected by the state on a regular basis.
Yes, and all that falls under the Department of Agriculture.
How long have y'all been conceptualizing this?
4 years?
Yeah.
How many gallons of beer?
Did we drink?
Yeah. Absolutely.
We've been home room for 7, 9 years.
That's 3,000 barrels a year, so.
No, we, right now, we're brewing on a 10-gallon system, so a triple batch in a day, which is what our initial systems that we have now are what we call the pilot system. That's one batch in it, and to do 3 batches on a 10-gallon system is extremely exhausting, because you're starting before daylight and you're finishing after daylight.
So cooking a pig.
But I would say in an average year, because we don't give away a lot of the beer that we drink, or that we make, I would say that we're probably in the 200-gallon range.
No more than 200.
Well, I know there's no more than 200, but I'm talking about between the two makings at your house and in my house.
Make no more than 200.
No, we don't make, manufacture, brew an exorbitant amount because we just don't drink that much. I mean, we produce and we give a lot of it away.
The joys in the crafting.
Right.
It's so much fun. We just did this Scottish beer, and we just love it. It's to die for.
throwing together the different ingredients and coming out and hitting a profile or a taste that you were really targeting, that's the joy in it.
Yeah,
Being
we
able
have
to do
one
that.
right now, it's got lemongrass and orange peel in it. It smells great.
We do, I mean, when these guys invited me into it, I mean, I originally got into it for the chemistry of it. I'm an engineer by trade, so thinking of things like that is what I enjoy about it. And the history, you know, I like to look up to see, okay, this beer, like a IPA, why was an IPA even created? And going back and looking at the history of a beer.
I've been making wine for a number of years, and I remember trying to explain to my dad, who was a chemist, that it was for the chemistry that I was making. And that conversation went fairly well for a while.
Yeah. I keep explaining that to my wife, and I have to be really careful because she is in the room right now.
Yeah.
So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
So I guess you told your dad about the watermelon wine batch.
Well, Dad doesn't know about the watermelon.
Didn't turn out that good, did it?
It
I thought it blew up or something.
No, that was the one.
Plum,
that was,
okay.
that was real good.
No, the other thing that we like about it is the fellowship around people coming in, sitting there, chatting. You meet people from other states, you meet people from other countries, other parts of the state that come in, and you don't meet a stranger when you come in here. You know, before the end of the day, you've at least met somebody that you've never known before and had a conversation about a beer that you've been drinking there. And that leads into conversations about other things. So there's a sense of community within the craft beer industry that kind of overflows to people when they come in and see it and experience it.
I know that you had given a couple of councilmen, maybe all of them now, a copy of an ordinance that was adopted by Sandy Springs.
Yes, sir.
And virtually they have no rules. The only rules they have is to abide by the Department of Revenue rules that's promulgated through their department, which are rules.
Correct.
And we talked about every one of those, and not exceeding the 20,000 square feet and those kind of things. But not really any other rules other than time limits and those kind of things. Go ahead. And most of theirs is directed not necessarily for breweries, but for distilleries and wine too.
Our understanding is they really want breweries in their location. That's, I think, why.
And I can see that's really how that was written.
Right, they really do.
'Cause I know the mayor down there real well, Rusty Paul. He's been a friend of mine a long time.
I don't know if he has Asheville in his eyes or what, but it's pretty well
Well,
known.
and you know, it's the thing now for unincorporated areas to become cities. Those cities can do, they're important, they can do so many different things, and do. We've had, let's see, 8 or 10 crop up this last legislative session, so, that have come about. Really what now I need, I mean, I just need some direction from you guys. I mean, what I did, after discussing it with Tony and then sitting here tonight, some of it, yes, we want to use, but there's a lot of it that we don't. And we certainly don't want to, we're certainly not going to get in the business of having a brew pub.
Neither are we.
We didn't expect to get in that kind of business. I don't know that we wouldn't stop, wouldn't want it someday.
Right.
In fact, there are plenty of places around it could be, it might work. If you've got the money to spend to weather the storm before it hits.
Yeah.
But I just kind of need some kind of advice from y'all. Size of buildings, maximum. You want to keep it as a micro brewer, which is under 20,000 square feet. Of course, we can always amend the ordinance at any time, or anybody can at any time if the need arises to do anything else. Aesthetics, which I had thought about, but I didn't mention, I'm glad you did, on the building. How you want it?
Go ahead and tell me what we're working on. We're working on a steel building ordinance.
Okay.
Very similar, we're looking at, like Swanee has, where you have facade on 3 sides.
Okay.
So that's kind of what we're looking at.
All right.
We ain't got there yet.
All right, so we have had conversations amongst ourselves about, now, the design that I described earlier was specified by the person that owns, the property owners.
They covered us in the land.
Yes,
Yeah,
right. And it was just gonna be just the regular sheet metal, 36-inch rib panels above the rock facade. We've also talked about that look of, where the equestrian center is, where Jonah Lane comes into Noah Drive. That type of facade, we've looked at that. And that one I think is metal as well.
A lot of them are, Dr. Yao
Yao.
built this metal building that they put that little thin brick, it looks like brick, it looks great.
Okay, or were you thinking more like what's down here at our
We're working on it, and just one of the things that's probably this workshop we're always gonna have is to talk about the metal buildings.
Okay,
Because we want the city to be attractive to others.
Sure.
right.
And you won't bring people into the city and say, oh, what a nice, what a pretty city. And if you come in and you get a bunch of just steel buildings, and after about 20 years,
I was trying to bring up pictures of Kirby, they've got a steel building, but the front facade.
Oh, this
It's still building,
It's
it's not the construction.
It's the exterior.
It's the exterior.
It's a lot of glass.
We want an aesthetically looking building, an attractive building that will bring customers in. We don't want, looks like a warehouse or something like that. That's not.
See, that's what that thing in Blue Ridge looks like.
Well, that's not what it, okay, so,
But I've seen steel
Or it
buildings.
did today, I was there.
I've seen steel buildings that look like a town where they face
Right.
at that old downtown look.
right, so Grumpy Old Man is, which is the one that you and I have been talking about. It started out, like I was saying, it was 2 guys that were retired, and their hobby went really bad. It got to the point where their friends and family was like, you need to go into business doing this. So that building originally started as one of the owners' man cave, so he could get away from, have a place
I can
to.
see that.
That's how it originally started, and it grew to what you have today. Now, if you would have been in there this time last year, it would have not looked anything like it is, because the new owners, his wife has come in and has spent a lot of money on new tables, new chairs, everything is looking higher end, more of what you would expect. And I don't think you were there when the new tables and chairs were.
No, I wasn't.
Yeah, so, I mean, they have spent a lot of money updating the interior of that place.
It's where you sit down, because I
A
mean,
lot
I
of
don't have
them,
splinters.
this industrial look on the inside.
Right,
Really
with
looks-
iron pipe, like iron pipe and stuff. And we've thought about doing some of the same type, like tables, using the black iron pipe.
What kind of guidance do you 2 of you have for Bill on fees, John, Sonny? You want to stay in line with the fees we have now, the pouring fee?
I think the ordinance is already written.
Well, let me tell you what y'all's fees are if you don't know, if you don't remember. Number one, our fee is $750 for beer, $750 for wine, $4,500 for distilled spirits. That's either by the package or probably pour the drink, the $750 figures are. Or the distilled spirits, either by package or either by distilled, by on consumption on the premises. So if you're gonna have If you're gonna have a brewer, separate brewer's fee. You're still gonna have to going by a pouring license. So that's gonna cost somebody $750 for that. And then whatever you wanted to attach to the brewer's fee.
What about $1 for the brewer's fee?
We would like that.
If he blew that on one, to be up and all.
And like
How long has
I
it been
said,
750? How long has it been 750?
since inception,
Yeah, it's been a long time.
never have had another fee.
What's LJ's fee on the brewery?
$1,000. Plus the, hold on, man, I'll tell you.
Plus the parking fee on top of that.
Yeah.
And theirs is brand new, they just have come out with that, so it should be pretty good.
But there's no grandfathering on fees, right? If we ultimately do an evaluation of our fees and we would up them, the next time it rolls around for the people, they would.
No, I think you're gonna, one of these days, y'all need to do some looking at all of this stuff.
I agree with that.
But I don't guess it's ever been done, anything done with it since I first wrote it 20 years ago, or however long it's been. Well, it ain't been 20 years, but it's been a long time.
Was it 08? That's not,
Well,
fee was 08?
Getting close, it is close.
So if we need to adjust it, I'd rather do it as a group than to
Yeah.
penalize these entrepreneurs on their first, right out of the gate. However, there may be a
I think
small
once- I
fee
think
for the
once we-
pouring.
Yeah, I think when we do the brewing fee, if they're serving or selling beer, let's just treat them like everybody else. And then let them pay the brewer fee. I mean, our stuff ain't extravagant, it's not terrible.
No.
And if y'all decide to increase that, have been giving us a grace period for a few years.
No, we'd have.
If we take your next license,
We'd
roll around.
we'd have,
A couple more years?
We'd have to give you plenty of notice, yeah. But like I say, if you wanted to look at this one development, I've got it right here. License
I looked
fee
at it the
for,
other day, I just didn't remember.
license fee was for a brewery, $1,000.
So you just charge the fee for selling by the drink and not by the package?
No, you'd
No,
have
no,
to do.
you have to
do a
pay
brewer
that in
fee,
addition to
And
that.
then you'd have to do a pouring fee.
If you get a
Because
pouring fee.
because in reality, they're almost two different businesses.
Okay.
Oh, I know something that doesn't have anything to do with me, but I'd like to know it. First of all, y'all gotta make an application with the state, with ATL first, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, and have y'all, in your trying to find out how long that takes to get that approval?
The federal government right now is running about 50 days.
Okay, do you logistically, apply for your state license simultaneously, or you have to wait before you get the ATF license?
We have heard two different.
Well, I read two different versions of law today.
So, we still have not got a true, we still not have a true answer. We have been told that you cannot apply for your federal license until your local license has been granted and you you initially file with the state and then they give you a temporary number, then you can go, after so long a period of time, then you can go file for your federal license.
And you read it just like I did the other day. When I read it, it says that ATF, you gotta make an application with them before you get the city license.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And before we can do any of this, we have to have a physical address.
But we've retained attorneys, so we're gonna be okay there.
Yeah, he's known as the the brewer's attorney. He helped write the ordinance for Sandy Springs, and that's what he
You see
focuses.
that?
He focuses on breweries, and we're going to retain him, and we've retained a accountant, a CPA that focuses. They have a whole division that all they focus on is the brewing industry. So we're going to make sure that everything is followed to the T.
Well, one of the reasons I ask that question is this, is that sometimes we have experienced in the issuance of pouring licenses, not so much in package stores, but really they've been whatever's here, ain't nothing, we got two, and that's it, or three. But the pouring license, they come in midstream of the year, not wanting to pay the full fee for the year. And we require them to do that. And we made an exception last year. But we don't do that. Under our current orders, when I say we, the words don't allow us to do that.
Understand.
That's fine.
And if you have to have the city license before you start all that, and you're looking at now, you'd be lucky if you were already ready to go to build your building, you would be lucky to finish it by Christmas.
Well, the
The
thing,
licensing process and all that other stuff.
the thing with that, all we need to do to be able to get started, we don't have to have a pour license until we get our certificate of occupancy. So we can go ahead and get the brewer's license and get our process started with the state and federal government and get our building built. And then when we come for a sign off on the certificate of occupancy from the fire marshal, then we can apply for our back date, ever how long we know it's gonna take to get
Let me give you a little logistics there too. Ordinance provides, Jim, tell me if I'm wrong, you gotta advertise once a week for 4 weeks. And from the time that you initially make your application, you're looking at usually based on what day of the week or time of the month. We only meet once a month, first Monday in the month. You might be 45 to 60 days out before you'd ever be eligible to get the license.
I know it's gonna take two
cycles.
Two city council meetings. One where we approve advertising, the other when we approve their license.
and we can formulate that into our operational plan.
But I wanted to let y'all know that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, our friends over in Gainesville told us, he says, it's gonna take a lot longer than you think. So we're okay with that.
It takes longer, it costs more money.
So, yeah, thanks for the warning, but yeah, we're kind of expecting it. The big cog right now is we need an address before we do anything.
Right.
And we won't get an address until
Y'all say
you guys.
Oh, I thought your attorney was gonna be registered agent and you could use his physical address. You can't start the process with registered agent.
You can't tell the feds that we're gonna make beer at his house.
No,
No.
You have to
You
have
gotta have
somewhere else.
You gotta have a place that.
Physical
the
location.
It's
physical
a lot of
location of the operation has to be already,
You don't have to answer this if you don't want to, okay?
okay,
And please think about it before you answer,
okay,
because they're making a video of this.
I understand.
Everybody that gets to watch it. With that in mind, about time limitations,
Mhm.
Do you foresee, well, number one, is there gonna be somebody local, or is it gonna be you to make that application?
It will be me.
Okay? And will this entity be, for lack of a better word, a form of a corporation of some sort? I'm assuming it will be.
Yes,
Not
it is.
a partnership or anything like that?
No, we've already filed all the paperwork
Okay,
with the state.
all right. And, okay. Have something else I wanted to ask. Walked too far today. I'm actually not for the first time in history. That's pretty unusual in the dock.
It is. I'll be sweating, it'll be freezing.
Freeze, I wore my coat all year. Just like all other industries, they want the least regulation that they can have from government. Of course, I understand that. And this is a hard thing to answer. will your, and this is where you may not want to answer something, will your closing of the purchase of the land be contingent upon issuance of license by all three agencies? You don't have to answer that, but I'm just wondering, if that's the case, how are you gonna have an address?
Time frame that would be successful in opening. But we just need to be able to.
That's the reason why people hire people like me.
Yes, sir. It is.
And I've had to go to Atlanta to walk a bunch of them through. But anyway, okay. Aesthetics, I need to know something from y'all. I'm available all week. If there's something we can't do tonight, and there's something I need to write up. Aesthetics and, what y'all think about the traffic and these trucks on the streets out there, whatever the load limits
I
on the
think as long as
streets
they're
are?
using box trucks and not the big 18-wheelers like they're saying, that they come in through Noah or Jonah, they're coming off the main drag, which was 53.
Mhm.
You know, kind of keep them off of Philadelphia if you can. If you can come in that main drag, I think we'd be better off.
Okay.
Do we have any specific limits on trucking through there?
I don't know.
No, we don't have any right now. That's the reason why I'm bringing it up now.
But I do.
I think-
Most of Philadelphia's
Yeah,
county.
Philadelphia's county,
Yeah.
county does. That's the reason I say you need to stay away from.
Well, that's where Walmart's at, so they have their big trucks come.
There's a reason there's 52 stop signs between Walmart and on Highway 5.
Okay. All right.
Why, did he take one down?
I think so.
Wow.
He needed to go somewhere else.
Aesthetics, Bill, are you thinking there should be a different aesthetic than our current commercial?
I hadn't read it, Jim, I don't know.
think
I
we
just
should-
know you're talking, I hope you're talking about something like the building that's out there already for the fitness, swimming pool. It's a metal building, but it's got a facade
New
on it.
beginnings.
Yeah,
And that's,
and shrubbery and those kinds of things.
and that's in their CCRs.
Right.
Right.
The studio had to do the same thing.
And that's
I
why-
knew you'd know, that's pretty fine.
Yeah,
And
That's what the developer asked, and what I would like to see, I'd like to see a little bit more like a Swan, something where they're just a little bit,
Because now we're getting into zoning.
yeah, that's the reason we look on our ordinances.
So the comprehensive plan, the central business district is supposed to stay relatively close to historical buildings.
Mhm.
I don't necessarily think for our other areas that we want to do that. We just want to have some guidelines that make it an attractive building, knowing that it's a metal building. I don't think we should hold these guys accountable or.
Well, I'm not talking about just them, I'm talking about
Yeah.
anybody that
Yeah.
wants to do something
Right.
like this or anything else that's
Yeah.
gonna be out on that area. Because they're asking, we're gonna have to rezone the property. And I don't even remember
I don't think we're
it is.
rezoning the property, we're just creating that
Ordinance.
somewhere in the.
In the
existing ordinance.
Just like,
Because the way it
just like
is-
Swan, it's the same thing.
Yeah,
Because they ran into the problem, everybody was went there building these steel buildings, and everybody said, man, this looks awful. And then they said, well, you're gonna do 3 sides with facade. Ain't worried about the backside, because nobody cares, but the air conditioning,
right.
the gas, the power, everything always end up in the back, so.
Well, that was one of the things with the way we're designed our building is the very back wall is gonna be a knockout wall. So when we do expand into the bigger facility, that wall will come
Yeah,
down.
that was part of their plan, keeping that metal, you run out of room, you're out of room, it's a lot easier to go out the back.
Exactly.
Just go anywhere else.
Right, so we'll have, in the tasting room, we're gonna have 3 12-foot garage doors on one wall and one on the front with 2 6-foot, or a double entry door. And those garage doors will be able to be opened up, so that is all gonna be facing towards the west. So that, like I was saying, we can catch the evening sun and all.
So,
Bro, you have your builder already?
We have got a couple of quotes right now. We've got Phil Molnax buildings is kind of at the top of the list right now.
So
What's
the
the
brewery
brewery
license would be exempt, from the 50% of gross revenue of food.
Because they're brewing.
Because we're gonna, it'd be exempt. Okay. All right, and, y'all will come up with a price, I'm gonna leave that in the blank. And do you want, the potential applicant to apply here first? Or do you want to allow them to apply to whatever agency tells them to apply for first? I think when they go, I think you're gonna find that they're gonna have to, they're gonna want to see our ordinance, and even if we were to issue a temporary permit, they're gonna want to see that before they're ever gonna fool it. Because the way, I mean, get a beer license here, you gotta issue, city's gotta issue it, then they take it to Atlanta and then get it down there.
Why don't you get us some clarification before Monday night? And let us know what's the due process. I don't want to make them waste their time and get delayed, because just like they said, time's money for them.
Right.
We need to do every way to expedite what needs to be done as far as doing what's right. So as long as.
Well, I got two different answers. I think I must talk the same guy they did.
Are we having the first reading Monday? Can we determine?
I'm gonna try to have you ready. Actually, I was gonna try to have something ready tomorrow. I intend to have something before I go to bed tomorrow night anyway.
At 4 a.m.?
No, I don't stay up that late.
Yeah, there is a,
9 p.m.
No, I don't stay up that late before it. About 7. Okay, let's see. What else do I need to know from you guys? Oh. Sewer system, you wanna let them dump in the sewer system?
Well,
This kind of facility.
that's something that'd be Mr. Hall's question. I
I
think.
need to talk to Dave about that.
He's out of town all week.
I thought he was a little water.
Yeah.
He's got a cell phone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll come over here and you can call him and we'll talk to him.
Call me, don't walk.
Well, no, you gave me your number, fine.
So if there's no specific reason not to do it, I'd say yes, let's do it.
So might have a better chance tomorrow.
The only problem we had one time is we had our sewer system nearly absolutely devastated and ruined because we let the dye plants, Peacock Colors and Yarns and Glen Head Mills dump the dye in.
But I think it's a little newer stuff over there, a little bit more up to date, a little bit bigger. But they had planned on a lot
I
more.
mean, I don't know, I just have to ask a question because I don't know nothing
Well,
about it.
the biggest thing from us will be the spent grains, and those will be brought out.
Well, I can't imagine anything like that would be any worse than putting that leach egg in there.
The spent grains don't go down the drain.
Yeah, the spent grains, we work with the farmers and,
Oh, okay.
you know, like a hog or beef farmer,
Okay.
come and get them.
Especially rinse water,
Yeah.
it's a lot of water.
Okay. Oh. Councilman, do you want them to be restricted, this kind of business? Do you want it to be restricted or non-restricted as far as, unless the state law, if the state law allows it, to advertise a happy hour? And I don't know why you're not doing that. I mean,
No,
okay.
we have no reason for it.
I wouldn't think that industry would have any reason for that.
You can put in what you
Could
want,
you-
but we're not gonna do it.
Because you can't.
Unless you make it.
Well, it's gonna be a brewery.
Well, you'd be advertising when your food truck's there. And,
But
but
it's-
that's an event, not a happy hour.
Right, and the price for the beer would not change.
Okay.
The only time you would see any change, you really won't see any change in the price, It would just be where part of the proceeds go is when we were talking about the animals or the school supplies.
Gotcha.
That would come out of our side of it, plus any donations that were made there.
So if I get you something more in an email, you can email it to these guys.
Sure. I got done his email. Oh,
Okay,
you're
question.
meaning the council, mayor and council.
They can distribute whoever they want to, but
I will, I'll
I'm,
send
like I say, I'm before I go.
you get me an electronic copy and I'll send it to mayor and council and copy Tony.
You got any questions to me?
No, I think the aesthetics is, what I'm hearing is if it fits our current aesthetic code, or fits our current building codes, then.
I mean, that's it till the other ordinance is done,
Yeah,
but I just want to be able
Yeah,
to,
when they apply for their building permit,
Yeah.
they need to meet whatever the,
at the time.
there is a
But-
40-foot height limit.
Okay, right now, we're planning on a 20-foot wall, so we're not, the new facility 5 years from now or less, we might go to 30, but that would probably be about it.
And the fire protection is what it says that for us, that's what our trucks do.
Right, for the
we
ladder.
don't have a ladder.
And you've got, FAA on there too.
Right,
Ooh, that's true.
and we're good because we're below the Georgia Power
Yes.
line there, so.
Well below.
Good.
Well, do we need a permit to be able to paint our name on the roof so when the guys fly over?
You talk to somebody
See
else
what I
about
said?
that.
That'd
I
be
didn't,
part of
I
the
can't
sign.
see that.
Forgiveness, not permission.
Yeah,
You'll never catch me on a ladder, I can tell you that. Oh,
Yeah, because I forgot about the airport being there, that's perfect signage, just like,
Great.
see Rock City,
Get you a revolving sign, you can charge for every time, for different people.
There you go.
Have a bunch of planes and helicopters circling, be in trouble.
We don't plan a landing pad.
Yeah.
For this long, I ain't one of them, I'm okay with it, actually.
I like flying,
I love to fly.
especially in little bitty planes, believe it or not.
I used to drive one of those.
Oh, I forgot that.
I quit because I knew I was gonna kill myself.
They don't bounce that well, do they?
They do not.
And they time it just right.
What else y'all got to make?
Did you get a chance to look at this? We had dropped off several months ago.
I did.
Okay.
She's doing it. I got a question about it. Why?
Why? It goes back to making where the city looks more attractive, so we can,
But what this is a tax.
it's a way to make people clean up, deleted, just blighted areas, and we got several here, we need to see if I can get them cleaned up.
For instance, the reason why I know that, we got in a lawsuit one time about these mobile homes. So that's not a new project, that's something that we started on 25 years ago.
But blight's nothing new, I mean, that's the reason they came up with this, and this is a model one. I was hoping you'd be able to do some research.
Well, I've read it, and actually, she's already got, she worked all day, not all day, on one of these. And I have read it, and, But now the other- there was other-
that
two
people are
others.
working very hard to make the
Like
community look
metal
more.
buildings.
you what now?
Blight and metal
Yeah, the metal
buildings.
buildings, that's the other.
Metal buildings.
About holding owners accountable for standards, is that?
Cutting their grass and not.
No, I'm talking about making their roofs don't leak.
Oh, yeah.
Now,
Like
we've
homeless
already,
living there.
well, now, we've already got an ordinance, for, have to read it, I call it a weed ordinance. Is to require clean up your house in front, back.
Well, it ain't just houses, I mean.
And
it's-
we've
it's
already got one of
businesses.
those.
How about for maintaining a building in a livable fashion, or do we have something that does that?
I don't know.
How about if we got like a building?
Let me show you one tomorrow,
Well, my building's got a window out.
No, that's broken out. there to maintain it.
And we've got places in Jasper like that.
Let me take you for a ride tomorrow, show you one I got a telephone call about.
I just know that we got in a lawsuit one time.
Well, I've had several people come to me about this.
I mean, I'm not making no decisions, I'm just doing work.
Yeah, I'm just saying this.
But it's a tax.
It is a concern.
But it is a tax. Virtually, when you get right down to it, it's a tax. Because you're levying the tax at a tax rate above what normal people pay, because they didn't clean up their property.
I think the word that they like to use is a fine.
Yeah, well, yeah, okay. But anyway, yes, to answer your question, she'll have this probably finished before lunch tomorrow.
Okay, and she should also have the copy on the metal bill, and if not, Jim's got it on email. She can resend it, but I had tried
Metal
it all.
buildings, the only one I had was this one, and I had something about 2 other taxes, for people not keeping up their property. So if you let-
That was other ones to use as a guide. That
Right.
was the one from Kennesaw.
But for
one from
metal buildings,
Mayfield.
I don't think I've got that.
Oh, yeah, we dropped it off.
I'll get one. I have it electronically.
Okay,
I tried to find it today and couldn't, but
she hadn't showed me that one.
well, these guys got some travel to do. Let's,
So they don't need to sit here for this.
yeah.
All right.
Thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, ladies, thank you very much. Appreciate it. It's nice meeting you, John.
Thank you very much.
See you out here.